catch you live, covering all things professional wrestling. A show by members of the Busted Open Nation. Welcome to the Nation's Corner. Here are your hosts, the Nation's Corner crew.
Hey, what's up, pro wrestling fans? Welcome to the Nation's Corner. I am Front Row, joined by Debhausen, the Great and Powerful, John in South Jersey, and our special guest host, Too Sweet Neil. What's up, guys?
Hey.
What's up?
Too sweet.
Thanks for having me.
Whoop, whoop, too sweet, whoop, whoop.
To what do we owe the pleasure of your presence this evening?
I don't know. I figured I'd hop on and hang out with you guys, not doing much, so figure, hang out with my Nation's Corner people.
This is what happens when we leave the door open.
It's the forbidden door of the Nation's Corner.
Oh.
I just wanted to. Who sent you the link? Because I didn't do it.
yeah, I don't know. I found it. I hit a sneaky link and found
You get the
it
QR
there.
code.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I got to change the combination on my luggage then.
Oh jeez.
Oh my goodness.
Man, the chat's filling up already. John Bay. I see John Bay, who I'm sure will catch some shrapnel at some point during the broadcast. Billy's in there. Seth. Oh, of course. Mongrovian Mike, who's doing awesome with his grandbaby. I've been seeing some amazing pictures.
Isn't it past Mongrovian Mike's bedtime?
No, he's got that grandson now. It keeps him. It's giving him new energy, better than the Geritol.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
See, RJ's in here too. Thanks for joining, RJ. Appreciate you
What's
as
up,
always.
RJ?
RA is in here. Told you not to use 1, 2, 3, 4. Thanks, RA. Now everybody knows.
Now definitely. Now we got to change my ATM pin code too. Thanks, all right.
Oh God.
And that's our show. Thanks for joining.
Yeah. Okay, we're good.
Bye,
We're
folks.
Oh jeez.
Well, before we jump into the wrestling talk, John, I need an update. How did Brooke do on the visit, and how did she have a good time this week?
Yeah, she had a great time. We were at a very, very beautiful beach wedding last Thursday. And she surprised me. I mean, I knew she was coming up here, and we were going to the wedding and all that. And I was figuring that she would stay through the weekend, and sometime Sunday morning-ish, I would be bringing her on a plane. Which she then hit me with, "Oh no, I'm here to Wednesday morning." I'm like, "Wednesday? What?
Wednesday.
Are you moving in? How much?
Yes.
I mean,
I told her
thought
that you'd
you
have to
moved.
charge for that.
I thought you
I
moved
need some
already.
rent money then.
right? Yeah, I was gonna say, I gotta feed you for how many days?
Oh jeez.
Yeah.
But luckily, and especially given all the problems, especially here on the East Coast and the Northeast with the storm, and she lives in Florida, and they had that little thing called Debbie roll through and wreck havoc.
Not me,
Yeah,
I didn't
Florida.
do
Yeah, not our Deb, but a Debbie.
Yes.
it. It was spelled
Luckily,
wrong anyway.
I got her off to the airport Wednesday with no issues. Her plane was on time, not delayed, and got a text around 3 p.m. saying, "I'm home," and I'm like, "Good. Here's the bill for your stay."
Make sure to leave a 5-star review.
Yes,
Yes.
If she's going to rate Airbnb, this one better be at the top. But yeah, it was very cool to have her. Actually sitting here in the room with me to be the first ever live studio audience watching me do the show. And she said she had a very different perspective on it now, seeing how it was actually done. And she has the same comment I do. This all comes across so polished and so professional, and it's anything but. We just wing this, rip it like Bully says. And she's like, "You guys really don't." I'm like, "No, we just sit down and turn the thing on, and here we go." And she's like, but it was very
have
cool.
a strict outline that we must follow.
Yes.
No.
John, I do have one question. Did you check her bags before she left to make sure she didn't steal?
Yes,
any of your hoodies?
all of my gear and my hoodies are still intact and in my possession. and that was a mandatory bag check before because she was actually packing the night before. She did her laundry, of course, everything, because why not? Eat all my food, use my washing machine, and she's like, "Why are you watching me pack?" I says, "I'm checking for contraband." She's like, "I didn't get in the room. I didn't go in your closet." I'm like, "Okay, good. All right, you passed that PSA."
Good. Good. Well, my goodness, I made a whole list of stuff to talk about, but as usual, we'll just sort of bounce all over. The
Yeah.
big this week, obviously, is the return of Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, and then we saw him on SmackDown last night. Not hasn't spoken yet, but a couple of interesting things that really stuck out. Obviously, after Roman returned at SummerSlam, Cody gets the 1, 2, 3, but does it in a way that he positions, looking at Roman,
Right.
and I'm interested to get you guys' thoughts on whether you like the way he was presented on SmackDown. Should we have gotten more? Should he have been on the mic? Or let me start with you, Deb.
No, I kind of liked the way they did it. I mean, if we're being honest here, you guys know I was slightly inebriated last night, so I wasn't like completely paying attention to the show. I wasn't super focused, but I did like it. It was fine. I don't have any sort of problem with kind of the baby steps in introducing like this next chapter of where we go next. I don't have any issue with it.
Yeah, how about you, Neil?
No, I liked it. It was good. It was nice. It was short and sweet and like to the point. I mean, they did fill up the last 10, maybe 15 minutes, but it was good. No, I didn't like that he hasn't talked yet. And I like that it's just him. Let's just keep building, week by week by week. Maybe next week, you get to the microphone, but then it's taken away, and maybe 2 weeks from now we get Paul Heyman back, and then you start to just continue building slowly. I did like the fact that at the end he did pick up the Ula Fala, in the ring. So I did like that before he got beat down by Gorillas of Destiny. But you can build that and then start building the little pieces brick by brick again.
Yeah, so this is something I wanted to ask John, because I know, John, you're an old school historian when it comes to titles and equity of titles. Especially, we can go into the Ring of Honor rant, but in watching this and watching the whole storyline over the last 4 years, I feel like almost in an instant, the Ula Fala became one of the most prized, like one of the biggest prizes in pro wrestling above titles. It represents an entire storyline and family.
Yeah, and that's I think honestly that's one of the cool things, and it wasn't. I don't know if it necessarily started off that way, but absolutely between since the inception of the bloodline and the tribal chief and all this, it's absolutely become one of the most important things in wrestling. Over and above any title, because it's not necessarily connected to a title. Yes, Roman had it as when he was champion. But even we're seeing now, Solo has it, and he is not a champion. In fact, he lost his chance to be a champion. So it's just one of these evolving. Besides the storyline evolving, it's this is something that has become bigger. Everybody was not real, and especially coming from SummerSlam, everybody was like, okay, Solo versus Cody. But that's not really what everyone was talking about. They were talking about, are we going to see Roman Reigns? Because that's the bigger story, is Roman Reigns returning. And as we saw SummerSlam and Friday night, and I particularly enjoyed their I don't think they're trying to make this version of the bloodline right now look weak, but there's definitely Solo actually, it's one thing for him to come out when Roman's not around and say, "I'm the tribal chief, I'm this." Well, now he's in put up or shut up.
Yeah.
Roman definitely
Yeah.
has walked. Roman has definitely walked out now twice with a look on his face like, "I am sick of your shit." And
Yeah.
you're running around, and Cody has done a beautiful job of feeding into that. The wannabe bloodline, the Timu bloodline. We saw signs in the crowd for it. So now it's in a very unique position because this isn't two guys going after a title or two guys going after a guy for a title to get to a title. This is family. This is something that I'm sure has played out at several Anawa'i/Fatu family cookouts about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday when everybody's had a few mayonnaises and a few beverages and stuff, and one looks at the other one and say, "You know what, man? I'm sick of your shit." Well, I'm sick of your shit too. So we just have basically a giant family backyard cookout that's gonna arrive, but now we're watching it live on major television. But again, it's bigger than the title right now. It really is. It's bigger than all the hype that went into Cody winning the title at WrestleMania and then Roman's departure. It's right now and in the span of 1 week, Roman Reigns has become the most talked about and recognized person over Cody even in WWE.
Yeah.
Well, it's really smart because if you have Roman coming back as the guy who lost the title to Cody, of course your first thought as a fan is, well, he's coming back for his title. But what they've done is they've built this bloodline, this secondary bloodline, to the point where, and I hope people understand that this was intentional. They did it in a way that is so over the top, like pretender to the throne, that Roman's like, yeah, I want that title eventually, but I'm coming back for my title, tribal chief title. That's why I'm here.
Well, did you guys? I know special guests. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna jump in for a second, and I'm gonna put this out. Did you guys see the video that WWE put out on Twitter after, like, when Roman was standing in the aisle after the match, and they put up the caption of what Roman said to Cody, and he said, "That's my belt. I'm coming back for it." And Cody stood on the middle turnbuckle and he went like this, and he tapped he took the 3 fingers and he tapped the belt and looked at Roman. So they're building to match number 3, but it doesn't have to be right now. Just slow, steady, let Roman get through all of the bloodline stuff and coming back, and then go back to Cody. It doesn't even have to be at next year's WrestleMania. It could be at the one after.
And real quick, I just want to point out, Sunday says in the chat, with Sika passing away recently, it also adds more, it adds more meaning to the whole story.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly.
Sure. Well, not to state the obvious, but let's rewind for a second, because we have seen this coming. Out of WrestleMania 39, it wasn't the story that Roman beat Cody. What were we talking about for WrestleMania 40 initially? Roman versus The Rock. Who's the head of the table? Now we're seeing that play out yet again, real time, with one different character, but it's essentially the same story. So this iteration of it is playing out now, but we have absolutely seen it before. We have seen signs and had stories revolving around a Civil War bloodline and who is the head of the table. We're just seeing it with different characters right now. So it just shows that this isn't, a 2-week build and a match blow off. That this is long term. This is, it's going to be here a while.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, for sure. So in this, I think that's part of the thing. And I know, Deb, we talked about this in recent shows, like the long-term storytelling and Triple H's penchant for letting everything burn slowly. Like, I kind of wanted to hear from Roman last night, but I'm really happy with what they did, and I'm glad that they put that off. Like, I didn't need them to cram a promo into 90 seconds. Like
Exactly.
you don't cram that at the end of the show. So I like the
Yeah.
action at the end of the show. Maybe next week Roman speaks or whatever. Like
Yeah.
give him some time.
Yeah, and that's, I think that's the beauty of the current era we're in, you know, whether you want to call it the Triple H era or whatever, is that we've mentioned this a bunch of times before. I feel like Triple H just understands the storytelling on a different level, especially the type of storytelling that would work in today's climate with social media and new kayfabe and all of that. I think he understands it just on a different level than anybody else has before.
Yeah, and it's
Absolutely.
a whole team of people. I mean, we've heard Cody talk about it. We heard Nick Aldis talk about it. You know, you have Nick Khan, Triple
Yeah.
H, Cody Rhodes, The Rock, Roman,
Well,
and
I mean,
Paul
it's a great
Heyman.
thing that The Rock gave them the idea. So
Right.
Yeah, it's so
Right.
nice of him.
Yes. Those
I got an idea.
When
and I think you're-
Dwayne puts some eyeglasses on, man, look out. Shit's gonna change. You know,
yeah,
fight forward.
yeah,
Glasses on, it's over.
It's my favorite thing that Sam's been saying lately on this pod. It's a great thing. I think you're gonna love it. I think you're gonna love it.
I think you're gonna love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But it's funny because as you're talking about that, I'm picturing the documentary. I want to jump real quick over. If you have not seen the documentary for Damian Priest, the one that aired this week, you have to
Yeah.
see
Watch
it.
it
It's
today.
incredible.
Mhm.
I don't know why they called it I don't know why they called it a 24 episode, because it's a much longer period of time that they cover. Usually the old 24 hours were like the day of, but it was
Yeah.
tremendous.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
more. It was more of just a regular biography.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was really, really good. We watched it Tuesday evening after work. Yeah, really, really enjoyed them telling the story of not only him as a person, but the evolution of his character. And I think it's perfectly placed to lead right into where we are now with him and Rhea battling the new Judgment Day.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Neil, I know one of the things that we were really hyped about was the way that Bad Bunny performed at WrestleMania, but then the stuff he did in Puerto Rico with the street fight with Damian Priest, and they showed all of that. They showed like
Yep.
all the behind the scenes stuff, and I just found that fascinating.
Yeah.
No,
Yes, it made me miss Bad Bunny.
It was fascinating, and it made me have even more of appreciation for Damian Priest. You know, already loved the guy, being a fellow New Yorker, growing up, loving it, getting into it, knowing that, hey, this is what I want to do. And for me, as for John, and I'm sure you too, front row, seeing him in Ring of Honor, and then me getting to see him on different indies here in New York and Connecticut and, other places around, like the drivable northeast of the tri-state, just like looking at him, and he's like, hey, like, and he really, really broke down, and the emotional side of him came out when other wrestlers were like, dude, you're fat, like, you're out of shape, like, get your shit together, and you will be who everybody in the business that knows something about the business thinks you're going to be. And it was just amazing. And to see Paul Heyman on there, and my God, who hasn't Paul Heyman, like, helped out like shit. He should have. I wish he could have helped me out. I mean, we I can drive to you, Paul Heyman. We're both from Westchester.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend showing up at his house. There could be a problem.
That sounds like there could be.
But like, hey,
charges.
I mean, we've run into each other on the streets in White Plains and Yonkers. Like, help me out. Like, but I do. But it was amazing, and it was just great to see, like, the part that really hit me, like, emotionally, was his mom and his dad when he finally got to WWE. And then, you know, he figured out the character, became the North American champion, went to the main roster, all of that. And like you said, when you started this, the Bad Bunny, him and Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico, that was just like, dude, I couldn't be happier for you, seeing where you came from. And John knows because he started at the Monster Factory.
Right. That was very cool to me. Now they very easily. I watched it actually just a couple hours ago. I thought it was very cool that they did document his time in the Indies, his time in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Damian Priest, aka Punishment Martinez,
started
and trained not 4 blocks from where I sit right now, the world famous Monster Factory in Paulsboro, New Jersey. It is literally 4 blocks that way from my house. And seeing him and the footage they showed, and you know, watching this guy, you know, when he was, you know, out of shape and he was good, and to watch him, you know, literally seeing him from those days. When he said, "Oh, and I was there, I put my arms up and 4 people clapped." I was one of those 4 people. But you know, going from there to seeing how, you know, this guy has gone through and progressed to what he is today, I thought it was very cool, and I really appreciate WWE because they very easily could have glossed over it and just picked up from when he went to NXT.
Yes.
And they didn't. And they told that whole backstory. And like I said, it's very well done. And absolutely, they are positioning him. They're, like I said, people have seen it, they're going to start to see Damian Priest in a very different light coming out of that.
Yeah, a couple of things that you just said too, and I would have liked to have seen some Ring of Honor footage, but obviously Tony Khan owns that footage, so they're not going to get that. It might not have necessarily been necessary to the story, but as a parent, like, one of the things that really stuck out to me was watching his father's reaction. They're standing backstage, he's won the title, and they're all celebrating it, and Damian turns around and there's The Rock. And
I was just going to say that.
And like, as a parent, like, because I already saw his dad was super emotional, and they turn around and The Rock comes over and congratulates him and tells him what a great job he did. And Damian's like, "Oh, that just happened." Like, and the dad's like, "Oh my God." Like the look, everybody just didn't know. Just
like the biggest movie star and professional wrestler of the last like 25 years just randomly walks up to you and congratulates you. That's like fucking massive. The one, and I know we talked about it a few nights ago on Zoom. The one that got me was the Undertaker. When the Undertaker came up to him backstage and then met his father and was like, you know, "Hello, sir, very nice to meet you." Like, very polite, like, your son is amazing. Like, to see Dave, and they put the camera on Damian's father, and it was just like, oh, and to hear the backstory from earlier when Priest talked about how the Undertaker was like one of the guys that was like, made him think like, I can do this. Like, this guy is a big, tall dude, moves, I can do this, and was like one of the people that really made him want to get into this. So that was even more cool for me, just like the backstory to seeing the backstage of the Undertaker go up to him after, you know, he won the title and celebrated with his father and his brothers.
It's something I think they do really, really well. WWE has always done a really good job of bringing new fans up to speed. And I think if you watch SummerSlam, if you're a new fan and you're like, "Oh, there's a big pay-per-view, I'm going to go watch that thing and see if I like it," and you watch it and you see everything that happened, and you go, "Oh, well, what's this Judgment Day thing all about? Oh, I'm going to watch this Damian Priest documentary." And they tell the whole Judgment Day story, so you're up to speed. So as of Monday night, you've watched SummerSlam and Raw and the documentary. You're caught up. And I think it's really awesome the way that they do that.
No, that is amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of Judgment Day, a lot of shit's happened. Right?
Oh yeah.
We went into SummerSlam kind of predicting what was going to happen with Dom and Liv. And sometimes what's expected is actually what should happen. Like, you feel satisfied when you're like, "I want to see this happen." Oh, it happened. Awesome. This is what I think should happen. But it was executed brilliantly. I can't say enough about the way they pulled all this off.
That's
And now you have Damian Priest and you have Rhea Ripley as good guys, which is the way they were headed anyway.
Mhm.
And what are they? The Terror Twins now, I think.
yes.
Yes.
And I totally need a shirt.
Yeah,
Yes.
same.
Pronto.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant what they're doing,
It is.
and the fact that they have this new. It was. I heard a lot of people say this, but I heard Sam Roberts say, Dom managed to be a heel and turn heel at the same time when he turned extra heel.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's like, oh my goodness, he's so good. And remember when Dom first showed up in the scene, we were all like, eh.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to
Yeah.
today, I'm like, he's literally one of the most interesting things going on. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
And
totally enjoyed it.
And the Damian Priest documentary really showcased Dom's part in it as well, kind of showing how he was, he had his storyline with Ray, but once he was brought into the Judgment Day, that's when he really started to blossom as a performer, as a character. That's when he really started to blossom, and we've seen such an incredible evolution over the past few years.
Yes.
And he's still got a lot of growing to do. Like, he's still got a lot more in-ring growing to do. And, the heel and the character and the booing when he tries to go for the speak on the microphone is great. Just needs a little bit more, like, in-ring. Maybe tone down the T-shirt on the front of the gear and the T-shirt on the back, and maybe one lesson you should take from your father is less is more, and you'll be great. But yeah, the evolution of the character was amazing. And I said father, thinking that Rey Mysterio is his dad. Meanwhile, he looks like Eddie Guerrero from
more and more every day.
ECW. Yes, yeah. He looks like ECW.
Yes.
He looks like ECW, WCW Eddie Guerrero more and more every day with that mullet and that mustache.
Yes.
Yeah. And we're getting the Lie, Cheat, and Steal.
Yes.
We are.
Yes.
Viva la raza.
Following the plan.
But it's everything he's done all the way through, like the holiday beatdowns, like at Ray's home, and like all that stuff was brilliant. The stuff they're doing on social media, and Dom is gullible. Like, he gets talked into all kinds of shit.
Right.
I know he's a heel, but he's really just being led around by whoever is the strongest voice in his life at this moment. So I love what they're doing. I think it's going to be.
And right now,
really
that's
exciting.
a crazy chick from Jersey. Shout out to my Jersey girls.
It's true.
Yes.
I
are
would not want to cross mommy though. Oof.
Yeah, they're going to die. Her, Liv and Dom are going to die.
Yes.
Once Rhea gets her hands on them.
will.
That's one giant pissed off Aussie. And it's not going to be pretty, but for right now, it's fantastic.
As the great Mickey James would say, she's pissed.
Yes.
Yes.
We wrote a song about it. Like, sing it for you. Here we go.
Yes.
Other Chad wants to know what everybody's drinking tonight. I have vitamin water. Nothing terribly exciting.
Chad,
I
am drinking Founders All Day West Coast IPA.
Nice.
Fun.
I just
Very
have
nice.
my coffee with more than a touch of Screwball peanut butter whiskey.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna guess that your coffee was Irish, John.
Not tonight. I decided to change it up. It was such a nice day. Okay. I said, normally I'm just filling it half with coffee, half with Jameson's, just to get through the rest of the day because it's been so shitty. But actually, today was a really, really nice day for the first time in a while on the East Coast. And I decided to switch it up.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
It rained for about
Cheers.
a week.
Cheers, Chad.
Today is sunny.
Cheers, Chad.
I felt like Picture by Sheryl Crow and Kid Rock. I ain't seen the sun in 3 damn days.
Oh yeah,
For real.
Yeah,
For real.
No, it's been awful.
Yes.
Front row, we just talked about that. What about the other Judgment Day heel turn of Finn Balor on Damian Priest in the match against Gunther at
Yeah.
SummerSlam.
Mm.
That was
for
that
sure.
was good. That
So
was
you guys
really
that
one
are
that was unseen.
that was something I wanted to ask you guys about, because you guys who are New Japan fans, you've seen heel Prince Devitt, like,
Yep.
and I don't really think we've seen the Demon. We've seen hints of it. I feel like we
No.
might be headed there finally.
Yes.
Might be,
That-
yes.
That face that he made after he put Gunther's leg on the bottom rope and the
Mhm.
cameraman shot that face,
Mhm.
that face gave me goosebumps and chills, because that was old Prince Devitt of the days when he turned on Taguchi and broke up Apollo 55
Right.
and formed Bullet Club,
Right.
and then fully made the turn on Tanahashi. But that face just brought me
Yeah.
back to like 2013.
It gave me
And
real
I
rock and
couldn't have
roll
been-
vibes.
Yes, I couldn't have been happier. Like, I want to see him break out the light up jacket from the old Bullet Club days. I would love to see that light up jacket just come out and let him be called the real rock and roller once.
Can we get Bad
Just
News
once.
Fale? Can we get Bad News Fale for him to come out on his shoulders?
No, because
no.
I don't
Bad
think that's
Luck-
happening.
Bad Luck Fale is running
Bad Luck.
the New Japan Tamashi in New Zealand
Yeah,
thing going. So,
man.
but
Oh, well.
not to
We
turn
can
this
hope.
into a New Japan show, because
Well,
But
to your
I'm
point,
just
Neil.
saying.
To your point, one of the things I think that I really enjoy, and it's the little things that I'm seeing,
Yes.
they are not afraid to say he made a name in New Japan as leader of the Bullet Club. Like, they will
Yeah.
say that on commentary now.
Yep.
I like that. They're not, and we talk about
Yes.
this all the time, like, they are no longer insulting our intelligence. Everything
Right.
counts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
And you've
They
got
understand now that a lot of
3/4.
fans know.
Yeah.
You've got 3/4 of the original Bullet Club in WWE.
Mm.
Yeah.
And other members, too. I mean,
And
it
other
extends into
members.
Cody and AJ and everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cody, AJ, Gorillas of Destiny, Good Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finn. Like I just my mind would
My
just
plan
be like,
is coming together. We are going to have
Yes.
a final Bullet Club showdown in WWE.
I
It's finally happening.
I will be there in the front row screaming like a little kid.
Yes.
And
You
wearing
and I
my
both
Bullet
will. We
Club.
will be sitting
Yes.
next to each other for that.
Yes,
Because I
we
can't
will.
wait for that to happen. I'm in the Bullet Club. I founded the Bullet Club, and then it's on.
Yes. I will wear my original, the very first Bullet Club shirt that they ever made, which, by the way, for the people that don't know, I'm talking to you, Dirt Sheets. It wasn't the skull. It was a blackish / green shirt that had bullet holes that said Bullet Club on it in green.
Mm.
I have the shirt. Of course I do. Because, yeah. But for the people that don't know, that was the first shirt, not the skull shirt that they put out after Prince Devitt left to come to WWE.
Yeah.
It's just a side note for
So
the
another
people.
side note to your side note, and I love him dearly. We're talking. This is so off topic. Our very own Mongrovian Mike says sign Chase Owens. That is so random. I don't.
right there, right there. Okay, right. He knows how to push the buttons, and he did. So I have the salute for him.
Yes.
He knows it.
That's the only reason why he made that comment. There's nothing
Exactly.
random about it. He did that just to get Neil, and he did.
Yeah.
Well done,
Yes.
Mongrovian. Well done.
Yes.
He knows right where to go.
Go
Fair
back
enough.
to playing with
I
your
mean,
grandson, old man.
But listen. At least he just went Chase Owens. He didn't say David Finlay. So
Fair enough.
Why? That's an upgrade.
Okay.
That's an
Okay,
upgrade.
so Neil mentioned Finn Balor getting involved in that match. Let's talk about our new world heavyweight champion. I was going to do the impression. I won't do the impression. It's funny because in the press conference, Triple H said Gunther's supposed to be that guy. He's supposed to be like he carries
Yes.
himself like a champion. He carries some, he did so much for the Intercontinental Champion, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. Do and they asked Gunther on Busted Open if he won, if he would have that same feeling about being able to add that much equity to the title, and of course he said yes, and now he is. So when he shows up with the title, I'm like, you look at him and you go, that's right, that looks right to me.
And he looked very dapper in the suit.
I like the suit.
Great suit.
Contrary to popular
Amazing
opinion.
suit.
Opinions
Contrast to what one host on Busted Open says, suits are awesome and suit up.
Especially with Gunther.
Exactly.
You're not going to see Gunther come out in a tracksuit or a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. It absolutely would not look right. You're used to seeing this. Obviously this man is obviously very European, dresses extremely well, and that's part of his mystique, part of his aura, his presentation is that yes, he is always very immaculately dressed. Now to see him in anything else, that's not. I'm sure he doesn't wear suits 24 hours a day, but Gunther's not walking out on television. Like I said, he's not walking out in a tracksuit carrying the belt. It just wouldn't look right.
Well, John, to your point, like he did wear a tracksuit when he was not the champion. He looked great in it. It was an Imperium tracksuit, on point. Yeah. Great. Cesaro did the same thing. Now he's a champion, and we all default to who's the default suit wearer? It's Nick Aldis. Like he's the guy. Not only does he look amazing in suits, and Cody, but Nick has his own actual line of suits.
Yes,
like that he had on SmackDown. The guy always looks like $1 million. And I think your champion should. Gunther is a champion that should present like that.
Yes, I think any other presentation wouldn't work, wouldn't fit.
No.
Oh boy, we have to kick Sunday out. Sorry, Sunday.
We have to go now.
It's fine. It's fine. You don't. Not everybody is super into suits, but I think for this specific case, it fits. It makes sense. It works.
And hey, look at Cody last night. Came out, didn't have a suit coat on, just had the vest, the shirt, the tie. So that's even top. That's even toning it down for him. But still, it looks great. And to John's point about Gunther, he's very European. The last time when he came out with Damian Priest in the build-up, he came out nice black T-shirt, jeans, nice shoes. Still, that's relaxed, but. Yeah, you become the champion. Maybe you want to, dial it up a notch or two. Mm-hmm. But still, being very European, they wear suits. They're
European excellence.
Exactly.
So Mike's not on the show tonight, so let me step in as my rant of the evening. Gunther is not from Germany. Randy,
from Austria. From Austria.
And everybody else that's claiming this nonsense. Oh, this is his own backyard. Bash in Berlin's good. He didn't live there. He grew up in Austria. Stop it. The character's from Austria. It's not even the character's from Germany. Nothing about him is German. It drives me fucking crazy. So
I totally agree. I think really and if you want to say close enough. But I think
it's not close enough.
No, they're different.
I know. I know it's not. But I think it's just because it's that specific area of Europe. It's it's like in the UK. If you're not from London, if you're elsewhere in the UK, but they do a show in London, they still kind of call it a homecoming because it's in the UK.
Yeah, I took a 15-minute train ride from France to Spain. They're not the same country. So, sorry.
Yeah, that's no,
I agree.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you.
And to that whole thing, I know I said it on Monday night on Zoom. Not every Irish wrestler is from Dublin. Not every
He's from Bray County, Wicklow.
Yeah.
Prince Devitt's from Bray County, Wicklow. So
Yeah.
is JD McDonough.
Right. They're the only two that live there.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
Sheamus,
Becky.
Myra Valkyrie,
Yeah.
Becky.
Yeah.
They're probably from somewhere close.
Yeah,
But they're not
like,
really
you know,
from
suburb,
Dublin.
small town near.
Exactly.
No, actually, no. Becky is. She grew up. It's a quote unquote suburb, but technically in Dublin.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of,
right.
you know, the town I grew up in is 15 minutes outside of Allentown. But if people ask, I still say I'm from Allentown because that's the closest major city.
Yeah. I grew up 45 minutes from Boston, but I never say I'm from Boston. That's a different vibe.
Yeah, there is definitely a difference there.
I do the same thing.
Okay, so I want to shift gears. A couple of things that really struck me. I absolutely love the Giovanni Vinci video, his like video package they did. He's repackaged as like an Italian.
Loved it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call him, but I love the video, the countryside, the Ferrari, the whole presentation of him.
Yeah.
It's almost like an Equalizer presentation. I dig it. I'll be interested to see how it plays out on TV.
Well, they kind of, when he went back to NXT after his first run on the main roster with Imperium, they kind of hinted at this before as this kind of GQ / sophisticated yet badass Italian gentleman and all that, you know, showing the finer things, the Italian countryside, the Ferrari. They kind of hinted at it and they never pulled the trigger on it. And I thought it was a very good look for him to begin with. And, you know, things went the way they went, but now they're going back to it. And yeah, I'm with you, front row. I want to see what they do. But
but John's right. We were all sort of watching it going, who is that? Like we didn't even
knew it.
Figure it out.
Knew it.
Yeah. Oh, good.
No, knew it because I liked what it brought me in and what made me realize that it was him was they let him grow that little bit of Italian facial hair, but the fact that they let him speak in his native Italian and then they put the translation on the screen. So that's great. I love that they started doing that in this Triple H era, you know, of letting the foreign talent speak in their native language and just put the subtitles in English of what they're saying on the screen for us instead of forcing them to try and speak. It does. And it gets the character over more.
It's a long way from Fabian Aichner, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. To Neil's point, you go back to like when they started doing it with Shinsuke, and you got real emotion, like and Asuka and Io Sky, and a lot of especially the Japanese talent because they're able to add so much of their personality into their native language.
And they're not struggling to think of what words they're
or how to
saying.
or anything like that.
Which bodes well for the incoming talent who are not native English speakers, right?
Exactly.
So that's going to help immensely.
Like two of my favorite, two of my favorite that are coming in.
We know.
Yes.
We know.
I've heard.
Repeatedly.
The last WWE thing I want to hit on because I want to leave some time for AEW because there's some big news coming out of AEW today. I really like what they're doing with the Wyatt Six. I continue to be happy with the fact that they have wrestlers wrestling. They're tortured characters. They're whatever you want to say. Like, I love the fact that they allowed them or that they had them in an actual match and the way that it was presented, the way that it ended. I'm totally digging everything they're doing. We're still cautiously optimistic, right?
Right.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the match on Monday. I think a lot of people had kind of a little bit of a hesitation as far as how are they going to be presented in the ring when they actually wrestle. But I really loved the entire presentation. I loved all the elements of Bray that they had in there continually throughout the match. You know, we saw so many homages to Bray, whether it was a certain move being used or the lantern in the chair and just so many little things. I really loved the entire presentation of everything. And my next thing that I'm looking for going forward with it is how Nikki Cross will be introduced into the ring. Like, who is she gonna wrestle? What is she gonna do?
Well, yeah, because right
Yeah.
now there's that they have a very focused feud with Gable and the Creed brothers, so they need to. They'll at some point introduce either a different target. Something will happen, but yeah, it's going to be. I'm looking forward to it as well.
I
Absolutely.
personally would like to see Ivy Nile turn heel on Maxine, because there's a bit of a story right there, and then you could put Ivy Nile in with the Creed brothers and Chad Gable, and it could be the new Alpha Academy, and there's your Nikki Cross opponent right there.
Yeah, that could work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to jump over to AEW because something came out today that I thought was actually really smart. Something we've been asking for a long time. Let me do this. I want to show you guys.
Okay.
So this is pretty exciting. You know, one of the complaints about going into like All In and All Out is like $50 a pay-per-view. Like a lot of people don't have the resources or have the appetite for that.
What?
So what Trilogy WWE did was
Yeah.
figured us a package deal.
Double pack. Oh, nice.
Double
It's a
pack.
twofer.
It is still $85, which is a bit of a, but it's you know, one
It's
price
not 100.
both events.
It's
not
not
100.
Not
Not
100.
Yeah.
So I think it's
That's
smart because we've been.
Yeah.
It is very smart, and wrestling fans spend a lot of money on
Yes.
our passion and love of pro wrestling.
We all know that. We us four
Yes.
know that here. Yes.
We were at
And-
WrestleMania and saw people spend lots of money.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous
Oh, yeah.
sums of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
80, 90,000. Some people.
$1,000. Yes.
Yeah. Some people, spend.
And they still have a
people
blank
spend-
Undertaker picture.
Yes.
Shout out to Lehman.
But yeah, I was definitely hoping for this. Unfortunately for me personally, I All Out, had been moved to the 7th, which is my birthday, but it also is the first day that I'll be on vacation at the beach. So I don't think we're going to be watching that live. We might have to just catch up on it when we get home the following week. But yeah, it's awesome that they finally put in a package deal for those two.
Yes.
2 weeks in between massive pay-per-views is just, it's insane.
Yeah.
My only suggestion would be, so hang on, I want to get something to show you guys. So when we ordered All In, if you ordered a certain package, you got the signed by Young Bucks and Cody with the ring thing, right? So if you bought a certain package, you got all that stuff. I would like to see, and I think AEW would benefit from having, okay, if you buy the package deal, then we're going to throw in a signed flyer, whatever, something.
Yeah,
an incentive, because their numbers haven't been stellar, so it would be good to get more people to do the pay-per-view thing. I think it would have been a nice thing. Or maybe they'll do it after the fact. So
we and the wrestling community collectively have griped and moaned about how bad BR is, and I still maintain that AEW's current model at $50 a pay-per-view, when they were doing 4 a year and that was it, okay, that's you have a couple of months in between shows to recoup and be ready for the next one, but they are adding more and more, and this is a perfect case in point. All In, All Out, they're 2 weeks apart. And within that short amount of time, you're asking people to, and I'm not even talking about live attendance right now or anything like that, but the people who are not going to be there live watching, that's $100. And, not everybody has that. I am glad to see that they are moving away from BR and the issues that they had there. And it seems now, at least, they're moving almost everything over to primarily on Fight, which is, as we all know, much better suited and set up and has zero issues normally.
Absolutely.
With their streams and everything else. And it's a better overall presentation. At least I don't feel like I'm taking my chance with my $50 if I know I'm watching it on Fight.
Well, and that
Exactly.
Trailer Plus also has given us a lot of access to independents like
Absolutely.
GCW and so many different platforms.
Yes.
And just that yearly price, GCW makes that yearly price worth it right there. Like with the amount of shows that they run, every week is just insane.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to see, especially with all the talk lately of AEW's television contracts and where they're going to end up and how they're going forward in this next round. I'm very curious to see if they stay with this model because, like you just said, front row, the buy rates and viewership is down. Can they still continue to, stay on this model, or because now it absolutely seems outdated, especially when you look at the billions that they just spent for WWE to go to Netflix.
Well, yeah, and that's the model that we talk about too. Like, okay, and we can be critical of storylines and stuff like that, but I personally genuinely want AEW to succeed because we have friends that work there and we want the business to stay healthy. And I've spoken to people at WWE who have said, if they go out of business, it's bad for the industry. So, like, everybody wants AEW to succeed.
Right.
So, yeah, baby steps in the right direction. They get good storylines going on right now, and they need the viewership to be up.
They just need like one of the main things for me, I guess, for us, for wrestling fans, one of the main things is Tony's got to take that pay-per-view price and just knock it down. This isn't the mid to late 90s where it's cable and the only way to watch it is on cable. So we'll charge $50 like WWE did back in the day for WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble. It's 2024. Like we can watch we can watch the shit illegally for free.
That's true.
We don't.
We don't. I'm not saying we do. No, none of us.
Other people. Some
none
people.
None of us on the screen or in the nation's corner watch them illegally.
Allegedly.
Wink, wink. But maybe knock the price down $10, $15, $20.
But if they get a streaming deal, on Max or whatever, then that's the opening for them to move to like a WWE network type model. What we saw when WWE first introduced the network and introduced just monthly subscription.
Everyone remembers get your $9.99 on.
But
oh my god, the $9.99.
It was the best deal. It was the best deal because,
or it was a 6-month deal. Because I hit the 6-month deal and I was just like, I'll pay right now. 6 months. Here's $60. Go. Take the money.
But if you guys remember, if you remember that when the network launched, that was the only place you could watch NXT. So not only did you get the pay-per-views, WrestleMania, all that stuff, you also got NXT weeklies and the library and the original content and so to Deb's point, I think the entire industry is headed to streaming. So AEW is eventually going to end up there.
For sure.
For sure.
Hopefully. Who's to say?
Yes. It's a maybe.
I don't. Dave needs to start a Busted Open Wrestling. I mean, they have. It's called Sirius XM.
Yeah.
No. It's called Busted Open on YouTube. There, John Bay.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea to have some video streaming for them. So who knows? Stay tuned.
Yes.
And
anything's possible. Speculate wildly.
And to our John that's on the screen, I saw the comment way earlier in the show that John Bay felt left out that the old man got a GFY before he did.
Oh, well, let me correct that. John Bay, go fuck yourself.
There you go, John Bay.
I feel like he didn't really earn it, but I'll allow it.
He never
Yeah.
earns it, and he probably never deserves it, but he gets it anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey,
Um,
it's price of admission.
Yes, it is.
Right. Right.
a really, if I can throw something out there, I know I forget about it because it's Saturday night, this, that, the other thing. But an interesting match and storyline that I've really been following that's been keeping me interested is Thunder Rosa Deonna Purrazzo.
Mm.
I mean,
Yes.
we both there's certain different other people, not only on the screen, but in our group, in our crew, that know both of them, that have met both of them, spoken to
Yes.
both of them, met the actual physical real life person, not the wrestler, So
Yeah.
this storyline has been I've been enjoying it, and I'm interested to watch the Texas Bull Rope match tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm
I'm interested in that as well.
That's what's got my interest for Collision. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Sorry to
story with
anybody
Thunder
else.
and Deonna has been
Yes.
great. It really has, and I think a lot of it has kind of flown under the radar because
Right.
it's just
Yes, it
not
has.
it's just not the main story.
It's
But
not
it
Mariah May and
still
Tony Storm.
has been really good.
Which is I think is the best story going in AEW.
Absolutely.
By the way, Tony Storm, not Tony Storm. You said Tony Storm, and I thought Tony Storm. Tony
Of
Khan.
course.
Yeah, of course. Tony Khan, Viva Van, Lady Frost, please, for the love of everything that is holy,
Give him the banner.
both of them.
Give him that
Yes.
holy
and-
banner.
And I know John's going to
Both
back me up
former
on
Nature's
this.
Corner guests.
Yes.
Exactly. And I know
friend,
John's going to...
dear friend of the show, Lady Frost.
Dear friend of ours. Oh, yeah, by the way, hey, we kind of sat with her and watched WrestleMania. So,
Yeah.
how about that?
That was
Tony
so much
Khan.
fun.
And a very cute puppy.
Yeah,
For the
there was a
love of
puppy
God.
involved.
Tony Khan, please start bringing Ring of Honor back to the Northeast where it belongs.
Right.
That's a
For
fair
the
point.
love
I
of
agree.
God.
Agree.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'll add to that,
PA, New Jersey, New York, please. Nothing against Texas. But Ring of Honor is not from Texas. It's from Philadelphia, and it runs in New Jersey and New York. Please bring it back to this area.
yeah, I agree on the Carolinas. I saw Ring of Honor many times here in the Carolinas. It was a stronghold for them, especially at the Cabarrus Arena. A lot of stuff emanated from there.
Right.
I will say I don't follow AEW as closely as you guys, but the stuff that I've seen, it seems like there's a lot more focus. I think last week, was either this week or last week on Dynamite, there was like several women's matches and a bunch of backstage. There was a lot of real estate being given to the women. And I'm a personal huge fan of Camille, so I'm really glad that she's there now.
Yeah.
I hope that she kills it.
Yes.
I'm really happy for her.
On a side note to Front Row being a huge fan of Camille, the last time we saw Camille live, she scared the shit out of me.
She did. She
Yes,
and that's on pay-per-view too. You can go back and
Yes.
watch it. Or it might have
Yes,
been on
it
Power.
is.
I forget what.
No, it was well, it's on Power, so it's on
It's
somewhere.
on film.
It's somewhere.
Yeah.
It's somewhere.
I think
Yeah, you said
on
something to her, and
WF.
she came right over and got right in your face.
Yes, she did.
And I watched the
I'm sure you
back.
I am just real quick on that. We all know, and anybody has seen Camille, this is a very big, strong, powerful girl. And I absolutely chuckle at the fact that they are doing everything in their power to try to make Mercedes Moné, who is not a very big, strong, powerful woman, try to be, just fit in the frame between the two when they stand next to each other, i.e. the ridiculous high heels, to the fact that even Mercedes Moné in a promo said, well, of course, I'm the CEO. I have to wear these high heels to no, it's so you fit in the frame standing next to Camille because she's a fucking Amazon.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, Mercedes had been on Instagram Live, and she was kind of just sitting there collecting, looked like her makeup bag, collecting stuff on the table and
Sounds
just
like fun.
talking. And I saw a snippet of it on Twitter, and I wish we could get that person that was speaking when she was sitting there on Instagram Live, that person on AEW TV. Because she's sitting there saying, you know, all of you people on the internet are so annoying. You know, God forbid I wear high heels. I'm not going to wear flats. Are you kidding me?
Put it out to the matchmaker, because
Yeah.
because to John's point, the aura. I'm sorry, New York accent can't really. Aura of Camille. What really struck me was how you saw the video of Camille always standing behind Nick Aldis. And
yes,
Nick Aldis, he's what, like 5'10", 5'11". I've met him. I have photo with him. But to see
Nick Aldis is like
Camille-
6'4".
Yeah.
or okay,
I
Yeah.
mean,
whatever.
to me,
But-
I'm
but
5'2", so to me, that's just up there. It makes
Right.
no difference.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying, like how Camille stood next to him
Mhm.
and she was right there. That
Yeah.
was the aura of Camille in its essence, is that
Yeah.
she's a tall woman without any extra
Right.
heighted footwear on.
Yes.
That's what the booker of AEW needs to do.
And do you notice,
Accentuate-
Neil, to your point,
Yes.
if you go back and watch those early NWA, because that was Nick Aldis and Camille, they did all of that, right? So
Yep.
he always not only presented her as my insurance policy, like
Yes.
I'm a big strong wrestler, but thank God I
Yeah.
have her.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he always acted like she was the heavy, which
Yeah.
physically wouldn't necessarily be true, but it was the presentation. And one thing I wanted to add to Deb's point, I went back just real quick now and looked up the Instagram post. This is a pose that Mercedes posted that makes more sense to me.
Yes.
This looks like
there you go.
what you're talking about.
That right there, that photo right there, front row, gives me the Shawn Michaels Diesel vibes from the early 90s,
Sure.
mid 90s of WWF.
Right.
That's what you need to do. You need to take that
Yeah.
photo and you need to put it side by side of Shawn Michaels and Diesel and be like, hey, we got
Right.
something.
Mhm.
How about we go with
Yep.
this?
And
Agreed.
especially with the exit of Jade Cargill from AEW,
Yep.
you don't have that big dominant presence, that big dominant person in
Right.
AEW in the women's division. Not saying that they're all, but there was nobody until Camille showed up that had that presence like Jade Cargill had. So now it even makes more sense, because now it looks, not only is she Mercedes is heavy, but now here's another mountain potentially that the women in the division have to climb.
Well, and the talent too, like nothing against Jade, but when Jade left AEW, when she was in AEW, she didn't have the skill set that she's developing in WWE right now. Camille
Right.
does.
No.
Camille is an NWA World Women's Champion. She's had
One time.
way more matches. She's a very skilled in-ring competitor. She hits like a
Yeah.
truck.
Yes.
So she's very credible. So I'm excited for her.
Proud graduate of Team 3D Academy.
Agreed. Yep. All right,
Yep.
folks. It's after. I know everybody wants to get over and watch Collision. So, Deb, where can people find you on the socials?
That's so debonair on the Twitter machine and the Instagram. And happy wrestling.
Nice, John.
You can find me on the Twitter and Instagram at Twisted Metal Fab. And as always, follow the exploits of the most dangerous weapon in professional wrestling. Of course, I'm talking about the AK9K, the Ass Kicker 9000, that you can follow on Instagram at AssKicker9K, coming soon to an arena near you. And lastly, thanks, Deb, as always, hashtag Nation's Corner on location. If you're out and about at shows, let us know. Send pictures, send videos, send photos. Say, hey, I'm here, I'm there. Let us know where you're at. Let us know what you're doing. Always include the hashtag Nation's Corner on location. And I will make this announcement just because I was working on things this week. Stay tuned to Nation's Corner on location for an exclusive interview with friend of the show, favorite of the show, one Dynamite, Danny Moe, will be returning to Nation's Corner on location for an interview, and that will be coming soon.
Nice.
Very
nice.
cool. Very
Awesome.
cool. Neil, how about you?
Right there. I'm just gonna point. I'm not gonna do the Deb thing or anything like that. I'm just gonna
It's
point
over
at the
in
screen.
the
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. See.
Okay.
Yeah. Right there. Yeah. See, now I feel like an idiot. Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
Just do
Thanks,
this.
Deb. Yeah. Too Sweet Neil.
Yeah.
Instagram. Twitter. Instagram Craft Beer Neil. Always follow me on Twitter. It's mostly just about Japanese wrestling, which I love very much and I have to catch up on. Shout out to New Japan and Pro Wrestling Noah for running their simultaneous summer-long tournaments together and keeping me up, at all hours of the night. Big shout outs to Pro Wrestling Noah in Tavian Heights and Josh Briggs, both killing it in the N1. And then, of course, one of my favorites and one of our close personal friends, Trenda, Magellan's favorites, Zack Sabre Jr., who is already clinched his spot in the semifinals of the G1 Climax 34 tournament. So that is awesome. Yeah. Twitter is Too Sweet Neil. Instagram, Craft Beer Neil. And next time we do a New Japan show, you're going to see this face. So, yeah. Oh, and as to Deb said, happy wrestling.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you joining us tonight. I'm Front Row. I'm PW Front Row on all the socials. You can find us at Nation's Corner on Twitter and at The Nation's Corner across all the other socials. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Y'all have a good week. We'll see you next week. Later.